I said what I said.
Oh,
If you don't like it, you don't like it. I said what I said, and
always.
I'm not changing on it, okay?
Okay.
That's it. So what do you want to do? You want to move on? You want to keep hashing over it?
He keeps
you want to
asking,
keep
so
going?
I'm going to keep talking about it if you want to keep asking.
It ain't changing over here.
We have not seen this background in a hot minute, but it's back. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you have not been here before, my name is Gabby. I will leave my Twitter somewhere if you want to go follow me over there. It's a fun time. If you haven't watched any of my previous videos before, then hi, thank you for watching. But this video is gonna take a bit of a different turn because I'm gonna be discussing a relatively serious topic, or at least serious to me anyways. And before I even get into it, I just want to give like a general disclaimer. There's probably going to be a lot of triggers in here for a lot of people, but the two, if while I'm editing, if any more come up, I will put them in. But the two main ones that that could potentially be a trigger for some of you are pedophilia and grooming. I'm going to talk a lot about, or I'm going to talk about concepts around these two things for the next video. And more into the disclaimer, this is my opinion. This is what I think. That it's my video. I can say whatever I want. And the thing is, I debated making this video in the first place because I don't know if you remember the Britney Spears meme where she says it's a movie, it's pretend, it's not real. And
it's just a movie, it's pretend. You're an adult, you should know that.
I was thinking of that in the back of my mind on deciding whether to film this or not. But I think it's pretty serious. I think I should, and I'm right, and I should say something about it. Yeah, I'm gonna be discussing an anime. If you clicked on the title of the video, the anime is InuYasha. And the other critique that I've seen of people who like do these videos, like people will come in their comments and be like, oh, it's just an anime, it's not real. But my thing is that people have been critically analyzing like things rooted in fiction for a very, very long time. We analyze different movies, like they play out certain situations that you would see in your real life. So although it's not real, although it's pretend, like we're not gonna pretend that some of these films that we critically analyze aren't like a direct representation of real life. And the same can be said for like this anime. There are like fantastical elements to it, and that's fine, but we're not just gonna like sit and pretend. Like if it's just anime, how come you have such a strong connection to some of these characters? It's because they're designed like that. They're designed in ways that would have us care about them. So, oh, it's just anime, why are you so upset? No, take that somewhere else. And you clicked on the video and you're gonna, and if you have a problem with it, you're the one watching it. So how is that my fault? If you don't want to see it, go somewhere else. Boom bap. So before I even get into why I'm making this video, I need to give you a breakdown of the anime that is InuYasha. So I think I watched InuYasha when I was ooh, I'm gonna age myself. Not even, I'm only 22. I think I was watching InuYasha when I was maybe like 10. I want to say I was really, really young. I might be fucking up the ages, and probably when I go and look back, it'll probably be way older than that. But I was watching InuYasha when I was 10, and I think I watched it again when I was 15. So there was like a 5-year time gap between watching it the first time and then watching it the second time. Actually, yeah, because I believe the final act came out in like 2010, I think, around there, and in 2010 I was 12. So around that age, right? The way that I wanted to structure this video is that I wanted, even if you've never seen InuYasha a day in your life, you would still be able to like partake in this discussion, or even other discussions that kind of relate to this one. It doesn't necessarily have to deal with these specific characters, but there are other situations, whether it be real life situations or other situations that we can find in different films and different types of media that can relate to this in some kind of way. So I want everybody to, even if you haven't seen the show, to be able to see where I'm coming from with the things that I'm going to say, which is going to piss a lot of people off because y'all are gross. So I think the first pertinent thing to do would be to share the overview of InuYasha. So as I said, InuYasha is manga, anime. It's a shonen. It has elements of horror, romance, comedy, all that good stuff in shonen anime, manga. The definition of shonen, I looked it up. I could not find a straight definition of shonen anywhere. Some websites said that shonen means specifically geared to a younger male audience, like preteen, teen, but then other sources said no, it's just the serialized, like it's just the magazine. If the magazine is a shonen magazine, then the anime, the manga and anime would be classified as shonen. I'm sorry. Who's calling me? No one ever calls me. Let me put my phone on. Yeah, sorry about that. So as I was saying, shonen, there are like many different definitions of what a shonen manga or anime is. The most the consensus that I found is that it's something that is geared to a younger audience. That is like the overall definition that I could find. If somebody has a better definition, please let me know in the comments. So that is InuYasha. And so the premise, it is set in Tokyo. Well, it has two settings, but it is set in Tokyo, Japan, and there's this girl named Kagome Higurashi. She is 15 when the series begins. So, and this is literally just like, I found like all of my information to the InuYasha wiki page. Now I'm just going to give you a brief summary, well, as brief as I can make it. And if I'm looking down, I have my notes here. So the story is set in Tokyo, Japan. Kagome is the main character. One day she's looking for her cat, and then it's she has a well. She has a covered well on her family's property, which just happens to be a shrine, and she goes looking for her cat. Her cat went into like the room with the well on the property, and then all of a sudden this like demon comes from the well and grabs her and like tries to get something from her.
ここらで遊んじゃダメでしょ。だってブヨが隠し井戸の中に。ブヨ。ブヨ。あー、びっくりした。姉ちゃん。
So demons in this context, it might not necessarily be like what you're thinking. I'll like put like a picture of like the demons in the show. Demons are, you could just think of them as like supernatural creatures. There are like different levels of demon. They call them yokai. There are like different levels. You have like hierarchical levels and all of that, but you can just think of them as supernatural beings. So she goes down the well, she climbs out the well, come to find out that she is in feudal era Japan. So this well essentially takes her from, I think the story's like in present day Japan, I think it's set 1998, no, 2005. I think I could be lying. I think it's set in 2005 because there was that like time gap for like the final. She went from 2005 Japan to the Sengoku period of Japan, feudal era Japan, which is from 1467 to 1615. So she gets taken to the past, and while she's there, she finds out that she is she's reincarnated, and the person who she is her past life, let's just say that her past life was this really powerful like priestess Miko, and the reason why the centipede demon attacked Kagome in the first place is that she had a sacred jewel living in her, and this is because when her past life died, in order to destroy the jewel, she burned herself with the jewel, and then it burned with her. So then Kagome, being her reincarnation, wakes up with the jewel. She has the jewel inside of her. That is why the demoness wanted to attack her, because the jewel has special properties. It can give demons like extra powers and stuff. So Kagome's reincarnation, Kikyo, or whatever, the woman who, her past life essentially, she died, but then she was in love with this half demon. Now half demons in this show are half human, half demon, and they're called Hanyo, I believe is the correct pronunciation. If I am wrong, please correct me once again. So Kikyo was in love with a Hanyo. He wanted to get the jewel from her, and in order to prevent him from doing that, she trapped him with a sacred arrow, thus inciting a quote-unquote eternal sleep. Now, so this is still the first episode, but it's like mostly exposition. So Kagome's in the past, and then the centipede demon comes back, and in order to fight off the centipede demon, she has to release the half demon that Kikyo fell in love with, who she bound to the tree, and that half demon's name is InuYasha. We get to the titular character. His name is InuYasha, so that he can help fend off the centipede demon. They end up getting the jewel from the centipede demon because she got it from, she was able to like literally like rip it from Kagome from her side, and in the process Kagome shot an arrow, and then Kagome shattered the jewel, and now Kagome and InuYasha are going on an adventure to recover the jewel shards. And they meet a whole bunch of people on the way. We get to know a bunch of different characters through their journey, yada yada yada. So that was my very long-winded explanation of InuYasha, but I promise it like makes sense in the context when I get into what I want to get into. So the other part of this description are these two characters were a focal point in the show, right? Now we get into Rin and Sesshomaru. So growing up, I loved Sesshomaru. I think Sesshomaru was my first ever like anime crush, I think. I loved him. I thought he was so cool, and honestly they have bastardized this character, but we're gonna get into it later. But yeah, honestly, he was just amazing. I keep getting notifications. This never happens.
Getting a website for free and getting the guidance.
Gabriella, what the fuck? Let me close all of my tabs. But yeah, Rin and Sesshomaru. Sesshomaru hated humans. There was an explanation towards his hatred for humans, but he just like thought they were weak and annoying. But honestly, from my perspective, InuYasha is his half brother, and I think he resented his father. Sesshomaru's father died because he was protecting InuYasha's mother, which is a human. So I think that like psychology kind of like played into his distaste for the human population, but I digress. But he hates humans, and then we get to episode 35. In episode 35, he meets Rin. Rin is this human girl. I looked it up. Mind you, all of these ages I am getting from the InuYasha wiki. So from the InuYasha wiki, it says that Rin met Sesshomaru when she was 7 to 8 years old. So Rin is an interesting complex character because you have Sesshomaru. Sesshomaru hates humans, but then Rin also has a complicated relationship with humans because her parents and her family were killed by bandits. So she's essentially like a young girl trying to make it out on her own, and then she's alone. It makes for such an interesting companionship, I believe, the dichotomy of these two characters. And in the original InuYasha, their relationship was so pure. It was so sweet. I know you can see where I'm heading with this, but their relationship, it was just, I did not get any inkling of romantic vibes from them. To me, they always had this, like, I wouldn't even say antagonistic because Rin worshipped that man, but I would say it's father and daughter. A lot of y'all say it's not father and daughter. Or if it's not father and daughter, at least it's like brother sister. At least to me once again, I feel that was what their relationship was. And to me, the whole point of having them be a pairing, or even having, because Rin traveled with Sesshomaru for a while, I think she's one of the reasons why Sesshomaru was able to get a little bit over his prejudice towards humans, because you have this like little kid who is really innocent, who's been like done wrong, and then I feel like he got like a different perspective when he was traveling with Rin, even though some of y'all say they didn't travel together, but they were in each other's company for an extended period of time, whether it be like 6 months to a year. So I feel like that was like a really sweet and pure relationship. He protected her. I think he loved her, but that's just me. I think he loved her in a very platonic, cute, like brother sister, father daughter way. People also like to bring up the fact that Rin was independent and she cared for it and she did a lot of things by herself. Yeah, she was a kid, but she was also like 7. She was a kid. She was in need of protection, which Sesshomaru offered her, and he was obviously an authoritative figure in her life. When Sesshomaru said stop, Rin stopped without even thinking about it, which makes sense because she's a kid and he is an authoritative figure in her life. Now, I have given you all of that information. It's been 18 minutes and I have not even gotten to the point of this video yet, right? Yashahime. I had already seen like rumblings of like an InuYasha something. At that point, I didn't know if it was a sequel, I didn't know if it was a prequel, but I knew it was an InuYasha something. And like late last year, people were saying, oh, we're getting an InuYasha sequel. Now, I always have not even negative feelings towards sequels, but if you're going to add something onto the show, make it substantial and don't have me watching it to be like, why the fuck did they even include this in here, right? So they were like, okay, InuYasha's getting a sequel. And then I said, okay, fine. And then they started to say that Sesshomaru's kids are gonna play a large role in the sequel, which I had no problem with because Sesshomaru played a large role in the original series, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. And then they said Sesshomaru's children are gonna be Hanyo, they're gonna be half demon. And then I said, wait, this is why I gave that whole exposition in the beginning about the original series, because if you remember from like a couple minutes ago, I said that half Hanyo, half demon, half human. And I also told you that Sesshomaru did not like humans, but like through Rin, I think he, at least, from the very least, I think through Rin, he stopped hating them and they were just indifferent. At the very, very fucking least, right?
Hello, so this is Editing Gabby here, and I just want to say that that would be such a really, really good idea for a sequel for InuYasha. The idea of Sesshomaru having Hanyo children is so good, and you could have used it as like a teaching moment, being like, okay, here, through Rin, he learned that like, he learned something through his time with her, and then it would like contribute to him like not hating humans as much. But then they went and made her his wife, which is just so fucking like, y'all fucked it up. Come on now.
But they said that Sesshomaru's children were going to be Hanyo, and then when they said that, I said no. I said they would not do this. They would not bastardize this character in this way. So then I tucked it, I locked it, and then I tucked it away in the back of my mind. I said, Gabby, you're losing it. I said, Gabby, no, they're never gonna do that. They made Rin and this man married in this sequel. Now I do have to say that Rin is, I'm gonna give her when Rin gives birth, I'm gonna give her 18. I'm gonna get into that later. There is speculation, but for y'all who are defending this nonsense, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give you that she's 18, because that's the hill. It's a hill you want to die on. Let's say she's 18. He married and had sex with this girl that he knew since she was 6. Since she was a baby, since she was 6 years old. That is gross. Like, I don't know what to tell you. If you support this nonsense, like, I don't know what to tell you. It's nasty. I do not know what you want me to tell you. Oh, it's an anime. It's not. No, like, this has very real life implications. I'm gonna get into that shit later. But I don't know if you're actively, and the thing is, I saw so many videos about this, because when I saw this, I couldn't believe, and I saw it like it just like came up on my home page, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it, because I saw it and I'm just like, why aren't more people talking about this? Which is my fault, because apparently some people have been trying to boycott the production studio. I think it's Sunrise. I might be wrong. So now we get down to it, the point of this video. So as I said before, like, I went on YouTube and I started like putting in a bunch of I started typing in Rin and Sesshomaru Yashahime, and people had made videos on it, but some people were neutral about this, and then other people were in favor of it. There's this one video I found of this one young person, and she was just vehemently against it, as you should be. As she said, she was like, I can't believe I have to explain to people why this is wrong. She said what she said, and the comments tore her ass up. Now, there's something wrong with y'all. The fact that there are some people in the comments who are actively supporting this, something is wrong with you, because it makes no sense. It's gross. It's nasty. So why am I making this video? I am literally, because all of the videos that I watch, I literally want to counter all of their points, because I had time today. I was supposed to go back to work, but guess what? I'm in lockdown for 2 more weeks, so I have time. And ooh, so I'm so cheesy. I'm gonna get so fucking passionate this entire video, but I have time today, and I'm gonna let y'all asses up, because it's wrong. It's just very, very wrong. And I'm looking in the viewfinder and I'm not looking in the lens, but that's just gonna have to be the case. Disclaimer: I have not watched Yashahime. I am not going to watch Yashahime. I refuse to watch Yashahime. I don't need to watch the show to know that this is disgusting. It's nasty. I don't need to watch a show to know any of that. So, oh, if you're in the comments, oh, you can't make a judgment because you didn't watch it. Yes, I can. I'm right, and I'm about to say why. So, go bother somebody else. One more thing that I want y'all to know. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's not gross. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's not nasty. So, oh, one more point I want to make about demon aging, and I might put this before any other categories. I might cut this up. So, demon aging is pretty... It's not... I figured the best way to explain this concept is through vampire aging, right? So, if we take Bella and Edward, for example, our favorite... one of our favorite couples of the past decade. So, according to Stephenie Meyer's vampires they're frozen at the age at which they were turned. So, Edward is probably like 109 years old at the first twilight, but in actuality, he was frozen at the age of 17. So according to Stephenie Meyer, he has the personality and the physicality of a 17-year-old, right? So everyone's like, oh, Bella's dating an old man. I guess that's a caveat, but like for all intents and purposes, he retains the same mental state and he retains the same physicality as a 17-year-old. And other than that, he and Bella meet when they are physically and mentally compatible. He and Bella meet when Bella met Edward, she was 16. When Bella met Edward, she was 17 years old, and Edward was physically 17 as well. He didn't watch her grow up. Just saying. And if you want to argue with me on the Edward and Bella front, that's fine. I don't really care. But I just want to explain demon aging to you. So the way at which Edward is frozen at 17, it's kind of the same for demons, but not necessarily. So Sesshomaru in actuality is 500 years old. But his like physical, I'm not sure about his mentality, but his physical attributes are representative of a 19-year-old. Once again, I got this from the InuYasha wiki. So when Sesshomaru meets Rin, when Rin is 7 years old, Sesshomaru has the physicality of a 19-year-old. A 19-year-old and a 7-year-old. Remember that. So let's get into some of y'all points. The thing that is funny when I was watching a lot of these videos is that people would say, people would always preface their videos. And this is more prevalent in the videos where people are like neutral and or in support of this nastiness. People would say, oh, I'm not in support of pedophilia and grooming, but if you have to preface your argument with the statement that, hey, I'm not in support of grooming and or pedophilia, maybe that's not the statement that you should be making. Maybe that's the hill that you don't want to die on that hill of... if there's a point where people could take your statement as being pedophilic in nature, then maybe that's not the statement that you want to make. Maybe you need to rethink your mentality. Maybe you need to rethink what's going on here, because it's not looking too good for you out here. First off, we're gonna get into what I like to call whataboutism, and I'm pretty sure this has happened to you before, where you bring up a topic that you want to discuss and then other people are like, oh, well, what about this? What about this? And okay, what about it?
Okay, and what do you want me to do about that?
And it's the same thing with this show. When you bring up the fact that Rin and Sesshomaru are disgusting, you get a lot of these people talking about, oh, well, what about this in the show? What about that? There's this character named Miroku, and mind you, I haven't watched the show. I didn't watch the show fully before making this video, but I did like a compilation, all the compilation scenes between Sesshomaru and Rin, and the things that would be pertinent to this video, right? So there's this character named Miroku, and Miroku could not keep his hands to himself. He would just be touching women's butts all day, every day. But the thing about this is, if I'm remembering correctly, they would always chastise, like every time he touched one of them, Sango would slap him upside the face. Like they were smacking this man around every time he would try to get disrespectful with him. Is that an excuse? No, they should have, they needed to get him the fuck up out of here. But that's the thing that I don't understand. Two things can be gross at the same time. A lot of people like to talk about Koga and Ayam. I can't remember how to pronounce her name, but a lot of people like to talk about that inappropriate relationship on the show as well. Oh, if you guys, like, you guys are talking so much shit about Sesshomaru, what about Koga and that younger girl? I'm like, it's all gross. It's all disgusting. Why are you trying to argue with me? Why are you trying to argue with me about these points? It's nasty all around. Why are you so hell-bent on trying to defend this relationship with a whole bunch of other things that we don't want to talk about right now? I look at it like this, right? October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. December is AIDS and HIV Awareness Month. Both of these things are important. Both of these things deserve and need to be talked about. But you're not going to show up to a breast cancer run and say, oh, what about AIDS and HIV? They're important too. Yes, we know that they're important too. But at this specific singular moment in time for this specific event, guess what we're talking about? We're talking about breast cancer. And that is how I feel about every time you try to bring up this relationship. People are like, oh, but like, what about this? What about this? What about it? Like, what do you want me to do? And it's telling when you only choose to bring up these issues when we're talking about something else. Why don't you bring up these issues on your own time? Like go ahead. Like, go ahead. Talk about these issues. Talk about them and want us to talk about them. But why only in response to this? Once again, two things can be gross and disgusting at the same time. Like, I was gonna say that Rin and Sesshomaru don't have like a monopoly on grossness, but like they might. I think that's like the grossest thing to come out of Yashahime or the sequel. I just want to say, in my mind, that sequel don't exist, because I love Sesshomaru and I need him to stay far from that nonsense. I just can't. Like, no. And the other thing that people like to say is that, oh, well, if you spend a lot of time with a child, it does not mean that you're grooming them. And I completely agree. I agree with that sentiment. But however, we need to look at these things in a specific context, and we look at them in the context in which they were presented to us. In the original InuYasha anime, there was not, at least to me, even rewatch, like, before, as I said before I even put on the camera to make this video, I watched all of the compilation clips that I could find. There was nothing inappropriate about that relationship. But then when you take that and then you give us Yashahime, you obviously incite the viewer to look at things through a completely different lens based on how inappropriate their current relationship is. So, like, their original relationship in the original series may have not been intended to come off as pervy, and watching it as a standalone, it did not. But then when you add this different element to the storytelling, you completely have to look at it from like a different perspective. Like, was this their MO all along? Was this the ultimate endgame? And if it was, then it's unacceptable. So now we get into I think this is like the most like pointless point that people make. We're gonna get into the comparisons of different prominent couples in the show. I think one of the things that have been brought up is like some things that people, like other people who are in defense of this will like to say is that, well, the other couples on the show also gave birth at a young age, because as I said before, going through the wiki and doing my own research, they're saying that Rin gave birth to Sesshomaru's children between the ages of 16 and 18. I'm gonna give y'all the 18 because I'm gonna prove to you that it doesn't matter. So they were saying, oh, how can you be upset about Rin giving birth at age 18 when other couples in the show also gave birth at a young age? I'm not mad about that. I'm not necessarily mad that they have the women in the show giving birth at a young age, and I'm gonna tell you why. As I said before, it is set in a specific time period in feudal Japan. Now, with like back then, women were giving birth at younger ages due to a multitude of reasons, but one of the reasons is that life expectancy was not there. So women did give birth at a younger age. So within the context of the show and them giving birth at a younger age, I'm not mad. It's like a period piece, and they want to, like, even though there's full of like fantastical elements, if they want to stick to that, if they want to stick true to that particular element of the story, fine. I don't care. But people were mad because they were saying, oh, how can you be mad at Rin giving birth at 19, at 18 or whatever? And then I believe Sango is another character in the show. Sango and Moroku also, Sango gave birth at like 18, 19, 20, between 18 and 20. Once again, I'm not mad. I told you why. It's a period piece. People are going to be having kids at a younger age. Now, where we get into some I think people were saying, oh, there's an age difference between Moroku and Sango as well. I looked it up. I looked on the wiki. Mind you, if all of this is wrong, it's the wiki's fault. This is the official InuYasha wiki that I was on last night researching before I even pressed record on my DSLR. So, according to the wiki, Sango is between the ages of 16 and 17, and Moroku is 18. Y'all have lost your minds. You are not trying to compare an age gap. I'll even give it to Sango on like the younger side. The wiki says 16 to 17. If I really wanted to be a petty bitch, I'd say she was 17. But I'll even give it to you on the younger side. Y'all are not trying to compare a 16-year-old and 18-year-old's relationship to a kid that was... So Sango, when they met, I'm talking about when they met. All of these ages that I'm talking about, when I get into the next couple, I'm talking about when they met. So Sango was 16, 17 when she met Moroku at 18 years old. You're not trying to tell me that you're comparing the age at which Sesshomaru was physically 19 to Rin's physical 7. That's just not that's just not what you're trying to tell me. Because if you're trying to tell y'all need to stop playing in my face. Y'all need to stop playing in my face, because if that's what you're trying to tell me, that we trying to compare those very different relationships, then we need to have a talk. Actually, not me, because I don't want to listen to the bullshit. But you need to find somebody else who will listen to you and talk with them, because that is disturbing. Very much so, actually. Very disturbing. So that Moroku Sango point out of the way, I saw people saying, oh, Moroku was in his 20s. Your official wiki for the page says that Moroku was 18 years old and that Sango was like 16, 17. Don't play with me. Don't play with me, because I come with my facts. Next relationship, y'all were so like up to defend it. Not even y'all were using this relationship to try to defend Rin and Sesshomaru. InuYasha and Kagome. I have to laugh. I have to. This is like a really serious topic, but if I don't laugh, I'm gonna start to get mad. Let's backtrack. InuYasha, main character of the story, he was the one that was pinned to the tree, and then Kagome released him because she needed his help to fight Mistress Centipede. Now I don't like InuYasha as a character. I think he did Kagome wrong one too many times. It got a little bit weird because Kagome is the reincarnation of his previous girlfriend, and then halfway throughout the show his previous girlfriend came back from the dead, but she was actually like a corpse, and he was tracing the previous girlfriend, and then Kagome was like trying to get Kagome was like, this bitch is dead, but then InuYasha was like, I want to be with her forever. He had a plan to go to hell with this woman with Kikyo. But I digress. That's not important for like the context of this video. But as I said before, I don't like InuYasha for those reasons, and then we can discuss if InuYasha was toxic to Kagome. We can do that, but guess what? Not in this video, because in this video we're talking about something different. Don't play with me. InuYasha, and this goes back to what I said about demon aging, right? InuYasha was 200 years old, right? He's like a 200-year demon. So he was pinned to the tree for 50 years. When he was stuck to the tree, he was 150, and then he wakes up, he's 200. Remember what I said about demon aging? They age slower. So InuYasha was 200 years old, but he is a modern day 15-year-old, okay? He has the mentality, he's so damn immature. He has the mentality of a 15-year-old. Guess who's also 15? Guess who's also 15 when they met? Kagome. Kagome and InuYasha are both physically 15 at the same time. InuYasha did not see Kagome grow up. He did not see Kagome as a child. I can't believe I have to explain this. I can't believe I have to explain this. I can't believe I have to sit in front of my camera, record for an hour and a half, and try to explain this, because y'all don't have no sense. So InuYasha and Kagome are physically 15 when they met. They are on an equal playing field. And sorry, y'all can try to like debate me on this. You can try, I guess, but they are on an equal playing field, and if you try to like argue something else, then leave. The only advantage that that InuYasha technically has over Kagome is that he's stronger than her. He's like physically stronger because, like, as I said before, he's like a demon with like supernatural powers, and even that comes into question because Kagome has like beads of subjugation, which she literally uses to sit this man. Side note, I should have said this in the beginning, but InuYasha and his brother Sesshomaru, they are dog demons, which makes the sitting even more chef's kiss. So like even the beads of subjugation like put them on a relatively equal playing field. But the one thing that the one thing that blows y'all's argument out of the water, trying to compare Sesshomaru and Rin to Kagome and InuYasha, there was no power dynamic really between InuYasha and Kagome. I want y'all to think about this. As I said before, Sesshomaru said jump, and then Rin said how high. Like, that was it. InuYasha said jump, and then Kagome was like, who the fuck you think you're talking to? Well, not in those words. But like there was more of like an antagonistic relationship between them than there was between Rin and Sesshomaru, because like Sesshomaru was an authoritative figure for Rin, right? Like, you know, sometimes I swore Kagome could not stand that man. When she got pissed off, Kagome would go home. Kagome would say, we're not doing this here today. And like, that's how it worked. So I feel one of the reasons that you cannot compare InuYasha and Kagome to Sesshomaru and Rin is that one, InuYasha did not know Kagome when she was a kid. He didn't essentially watch her grow up. And then number two, there wasn't this clear power dynamic between Kagome and InuYasha. Of course they would argue, and like in most cases one of them would get the upper hand than each other over the other person, but it wasn't this constant like thing that you could feel like InuYasha wasn't like an authoritative figure over Kagome, otherwise she wouldn't have been able to sit him as many times as she did.
Come on, answer me already! Why the heck are you ignoring me? Hey, Kagome!
Not now.
If you have something to say, then let's hear it, okay?
Don't bother.
Come on, I know you're angry.
No, I'm not angry.
Anyway, this is no time for us to argue. You realize that, don't you?
InuYasha?
Yeah, what is it?
We've talked about it before, haven't we? About me staying with you. I know that there's a bond between you and Kikyo, and I know I can't ever ask you to forget about her. And yet, I'm going to stand by you, InuYasha. It's what I know I have to do.
Kagome.
So I'm not gonna worry about what happened last night. There's one thing, though.
Why are you trying to pick a fight with me? Why can't you just leave me alone? This is already hard enough!
Hey, wait, I was right. You are angry after all.
Boy! Sit 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 boy!
I told him not to provoke her unnecessarily.
Like, come on now. Come on now. Y'all are just grasping at straws. This is the most, I think out of all of them, this is like the most aggravating to me. So Sesshomaru did, and this is the point that people will make. Well, so Sesshomaru didn't necessarily raise Rin because Rin was independent.
Electric chair.
Electric chair. Y'all deserve the electric chair. It's crazy how like people will go through hoops, jump through circles, hula hoops, just to make a point that's not right. And y'all can claim that that's what I'm doing as well, but I'm right. There is no neutrality with the situation. I'm just correct, and y'all gonna have to deal with that. They saying now that Sesshomaru didn't necessarily raise Rin. He wasn't a father figure to her. They had more of like a ward and protector situation. Basically, they honestly how y'all sound is that y'all trying to say that Sesshomaru didn't give a nary fuck about this girl, which you would be wrong, because then you didn't watch the same show that I watched. One thing that I saw is that someone said that, oh, I viewed them as friends. First of all, and we can say that the show was fantasy. Once again, miss me with that shit. Like, no. What 19-year-old you know that what 19-year-old you know that is friends with a 7-year-old? Really?
And especially given the nature of Sesshomaru's character, there's no way that he was gonna be friends with a human child. Now let's get real.
Friends, I can see like the more protector thing. I can see that more than I can see y'all trying to say that Rin and Sesshomaru were friends and or companions. What kind of power dynamic do you, listen, and I'm speaking to you clearly right now, if your friend has the power and authority that Sesshomaru had over Rin, then you need new friends, or just cancel your friend altogether, because boo, I promise you that ain't friendship. It's really not friendship. So that's scary if y'all got friends like that. But anyways, it's just weird. It's just weird, especially if you look at the scene in the final act when Rin died for the second time and then Sesshomaru could not bring her back to life. You see, listen, if it's one thing the animators got right in that show, you see the emotion. You see how visibly toe up that he was, that he could not bring her back to life. That emotion obviously went past like ward and protector and like I already said the friend thing is debunked because you ain't treating your friend like that. So if he wasn't showing her affection that a protector would show their ward or whatever, and according to y'all, it wasn't father-daughter and it wasn't brother-sister, what kind of emotion would he be showing to an 8-year-old? Y'all are digging these, like, y'all like to say, oh, he only developed feelings for her when she was older. What kind of emotion, if y'all are saying they were not they didn't have a brother-sister relationship, they didn't have a father-daughter relationship, I already said that their relationship went past ward and protector, and I already said that that whole friend thing is debunked. Stop. What kind of emotion would he be showing to her then? Nasty. And once again, I believe that they had like a father-daughter, brother-sister relationship. At the very least they had a brother-sister relationship, and at the most it was father-daughter, because y'all don't know what y'all talking about. But that's that. And the other point, you sick fucks, the other point that y'all like to make is that, oh, well, so essentially after they collected all of the jewel shards, after they defeated the big bad villain named Naraku, Sesshomaru left Rin in a human village, and he like left her there for a minute. I think at that point in the final act, Rin was like 11 when he left her there. Or she'd been there for a while, but like bottom line is that she was a kid. Y'all like to say, oh, he did not raise her, so like it's not gross. Do y'all hear yourselves? And according to the wiki, he frequently visited her. He frequently visited her and he brought her gifts when he was visiting her. Now, if you look at it as a father-daughter relationship or a brother-sister relationship, you can say that he was visiting her as a kid because he cared about her in that platonic way. Y'all like to, but that's what y'all like to say? Y'all like to say, oh, he didn't raise her because he left her in a human village. Okay, he still visited her. He still saw her transitioning into adulthood, into womanhood. Does that not seem weird to any of you? Does that not seem disgusting? He literally watched her grow up into, from childhood to womanhood, because that is what the wiki states. The wiki states, even when y'all like to make it seem as though, oh, he just left her in the human village at 11 years old and didn't check back in until she was 18. According to the wiki, he was visiting her. And which would make sense. If you look at it in a platonic sense, it would make sense because, like, he spent a considerable amount of time with this child, and he obviously grew an attachment to this child, which is, like, platonic in nature. So, obviously, like, I'm gonna visit you, I'm gonna bring you a kimono or two, like, what we do? But, like, please get your heads out of your asses. Please, please. Ooh, if people find this video, let's hope that only one person watches this chat. If people find this video, I'm gonna be in for it. But you know what? I love deleting comments. I'm gonna go through and delete everything. So don't even bother. Don't even bother at that point. But yeah, y'all are gross. Like, oh, he didn't raise her. She spent at minimum 6 months with this man. At minimum 6 months, at most a year. He knew her as a kid. He knew her as a kid. And the fact that he's with her as an adult is nasty. Either way you spin it, it's nasty. And the next part. The sickness of you people, of hopefully not nobody watching this, but the once again, the desire to prove your point so bad that you will literally twist yourselves into like literal pretzels in order to defend something that is indefensible. Y'all's favorite point, Rin had a choice. That's what y'all like to say, right? Rin had a choice to decide whether she wanted to stay with him or not. It was her choice. This is the kind of victim blaming shit that y'all like to do all the time. Oh, she had a choice to stay. She didn't really say no. Oh, that is what y'all like to do. Let's get into it. Let's get into Rin. Rin met this man when she was 7, right? Previous to that, as I said before, her parents were killed by bandits. She had a distrust for humans because, like, honestly, like, humans like fucked her up one too many times, right? She was like scavenging for her own food. Rin was by herself. And I'm not a psychologist. Disclaimer, I'm not a psychologist nor am I a psychiatrist. I studied politics in school. So let's get that out of the way. I took I took a couple of psychology courses though. But but the thing is, I don't need to have a psychology degree to tell you that Rin had some form of trauma through all of that. Like, me at 22 years old, if something had happened, if I had lived the life that Rin lived at 22 years old, I would have trauma. So it's not a jump, it's not a reach to say that she had trauma. When she met Sesshomaru in that first episode, Rin could not speak. Not that she couldn't speak, but she was mute. I believe from reading, it said that she was mute since her parents died, since her parents were killed. So she was mute. Homegirl looked ragged. Her clothes were toe up. Like that kind of thing, right? So, and honestly, the fact that Sesshomaru brought her back from the dead was probably the first act of kindness that she had from another person in a really long time. So there's that. And where was she going? Where was she gonna go? That is my thing with all of you who said, oh, she had a choice, disregarding her trauma, disregarding that she's sick, she's like a 6-7-year-old who's had to like fend for herself for a while, disregarding all of that. Oh, she had a choice to stay. Where was she gonna go? Literally, in the next episode that we see Rin, she's talking. She looks relatively happy. She got a new kimono. Did the new kimono fall from the sky? Do y'all not know how to use like context clues? Like, obviously, like, Sesshomaru like got those things for her. Like, she was looking clean. Rin was looking good. So where, like, oh, she had a choice to leave. Where was she going to go? in the episode when she was in the human village, and then Sesshomaru was like, Rin, you can stay or you can come with me. Of course she wasn't gonna stay, because she doesn't have positive interactions with humans. Like that, like when you only have one viable option, that's not a choice. That is what I want us to understand. When we only have one option, it's really not a choice. So I don't know what I don't know what you want me to do with that information. She was 6. Y'all are literally saying, oh, Rin as a 6-year-old had a choice to go with probably the only person who's shown her any kind of like care. I wouldn't even say affection, because like then if I say affection, y'all are gonna be like, oh, Sesshomaru was not affectionate. But he showed that he cared in different ways. He protected her on numerous occasions. He would like stop and he would be like, Rin, go get some food for you to eat, or so. Like he was considerate of her needs as a kid. So for y'all to just be like, oh, like Rin was so independent, Rin did everything on her own, miss me with that shit. And the next thing that I want to say, everybody keeps looking at this, and this might be the misogyny in your brain. Or it could, let me take that back. It might not be the misogyny. It might just be that I'm looking at things from a different perspective. Everybody keeps looking at this from like Sesshomaru's perspective. Oh, he wasn't a father to her. He wasn't like he wasn't a brother to her. He what about what Rin felt? What about what about how Rin viewed this man? This man, the only person, this man who brought you, and y'all say, oh, Jaqen was more her father figure. Miss me, please, miss me with that shit. But what about how she felt? Rin worshipped that man, like, and not worship in a bad, like when I say worship that man, I mean to say like as an authoritative figure, like how you would talk to your parents. She addressed him with respect, the way that Rin was talking to Sesshomaru. Kagome was not talking to InuYasha like that. Trust me. There you could see there was levels. Like it was Sesshomaru, Rin, because I honestly feel like he treated Rin better than Jaqen. It was like Sesshomaru, Rin, Jaqen, or Sesshomaru, Jaqen, but like Rin like right below.
And if he treated Rin the way that he did Jaqen, I would say maybe y'all have a leg to stand on, but honestly, not even then.
Jaqen. So like Rin view, like how about how a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old child would view somebody in his position? Y'all like, oh, he let her follow him. They didn't have like a relationship. He let her follow him. If you didn't watch the show, just say that. If that is your interpretation of his relationship, oh, that she was just following him and he let her follow him. If you didn't watch the show, just say that. Just say you wouldn't watch it and then just walk away, because that is not the argument that is going to win you this debate. Far from it. Far from it. This is my last point. After I've rambled, this is my last point. And honestly, if you think that everything that I've said up till this point is just nonsense, disregard everything that I said, even though once again I'm right. But disregard if y'all thinking, oh, she just rambling, she just talking shit, she don't know what the fuck she talking about. Disregard everything that I say and focus on this point. She was a child when they met. She was 8, and this is the upper end of the echelon. She was 8 years old when they met, and he was physically 19 years old. Discussion done. Point done. That is why I am like so, like, I'm just confused. I'm very, very confused, because y'all have all of these different arguments as to why this is not a predatory relationship, but Rin, like, disregard the power dynamics. Okay, you want to say they were friends, they were friends. I don't care about her giving birth at 18 years old. You want to compare it to all of the other relationships, go ahead, do that. I don't care. You want to talk about everything, like, what about this, what about that, do that. I don't care. Point blank period. Rin was 8 years old when they met. She was 8 years old when they met, and they spent minimum 6 months together. Y'all can say, oh, they didn't spend every day together, so Sesshomaru would leave. That don't matter. That don't matter. He knew her as a kid. He knew her as a kid. And if you think it's okay for an adult to know a child as a kid, then I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. This is not a relationship whereby, oh, like, he met her traveling when they were like 16, 17. That's the age that he met her, and then he waited a few years and then he got married. I would say that's weird. That's suspicious. But it would be a teeny weeny bit better than meeting her when he knew her as a child. This is what I don't understand. I don't know why this concept is so hard for some people to grasp. He knew her as an infant. He took care of her as an infant. Well, not an infant. A toddler. No, not a toddler. A young child. Sorry. A young child. He knew her as a... That would be like me. I left home when I was 17? 18. I left home when I was 17. But yeah, let me give y'all an example. Put this into real world consequences, since y'all are just like, oh, it's just an anime. I left home when I was like 17, 18 years old, and I had like a bunch of like neighbors like as kids. There was a 7-year-old there. And the 7-year-old had been living next to me for about a year. Let's say that. Let's say the 7-year-old has been living next to me for about a year. I didn't see the 7-year-old every day. I didn't talk to them. Why did I say talk like that? I didn't talk to them, but I did see them every day as a 7-year-old. At like 7 years old. I saw them as a 7-year-old. So I've come to Canada and years have gone by. How many years till 18? From 7, 9, no, 10, I can't count, no, 11, my ass can't count. So I saw that kid, neighborhood kid, on and off for about a year. I leave, go to Canada, I age for the next 3 years. I'll be 11 years, I'll be 33 years old. And I look the same. I look the same as I did when I was 17. And I go back home and I try to get it on with the 18-year-old. Does that not make... This is not like an 18-year-old and a 33-year-old meeting when they're 18 and 33, right? Even though I still think that is gross. I think that is predatory behavior in and of itself. This is not an 18-year-old and a 33-year-old meeting at their ages. This is a 33-year-old that knew this child from a younger age. Y'all don't think there's nothing wrong with that? I'm making all these faces. Y'all really don't think that there's nothing of consequence, nothing wrong with that? If you don't think there's something wrong with that, then I don't know what to tell you. Good luck, I guess. And my last point for this video, real life implications. Now you may say, Gabby, you just spent an hour and however many minutes talking about something that isn't real life. But you know what, as I said at the beginning of the video, we've been analyzing a lot of things that's not real life. This panoramic don't feel like real life, but whatever. That's what we do. We critically engage in media. That's what we do. like my brain's fried. I don't even know what to say anymore. But we critically engage in like fiction because it reminds us of our real life, like the relationships in InuYasha, Kagome and InuYasha. You're strung up on this guy, but he still likes his ex. The ideas of like prejudice, the ideas of family, all of these different tropes are things that we can relate to and things that we can analyze like in our real lives, right? Why do I say that? Everybody who's defending this, the one thing that I saw come up the most, well, Japan's age of consent is 13. Are you sick? Are you sick in the head? First of all, what will even prompt you to come up with this as an excuse and this as a defense for a predatory relationship? Japan's age of consent is 13. You know what that means? That means that other 13-year-olds can get with another 13-year-old. It doesn't mean whatever the hell you think that it means. You should be ashamed of yourself. It's just a lot. It's just, and here's my thing. This relationship could have happened, right? Rin and Sesshomaru, like it could have happened, and it could have happened, but there didn't need to be people defending it. There didn't need to be all of this. People are like, oh, like it's a show set in like ancient times and it doesn't really matter. But you know what? They put out a show set in ancient times in 2021, and guess what? We're gonna judge, even though it's a period piece. Obviously, I recognize that it's a period piece. As I said before, it's a period piece, but we're gonna judge it with modern sensibilities. We're gonna judge it with the modern mind because that's what we have and that's what we know. Everything belongs in context, and I think I've done very fairly judging Yashahime in the context that was provided to me, but that doesn't mean that it's free from criticism. And this relationship is nasty. And once again, in the words of Amanda, one of my favorite YouTubers, just because it's legal doesn't mean it's not gross. And that's what this is. That's what this relationship gave me. Yeah, it's just that you're not about to tell me that he met this girl when she was 9 and he was physically 19. They spent a considerable amount of time together, and then they got married. She gave birth at 18, on the upper end of the scale, because some people saying it's 17 or 16. You just not about to tell me that there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sorry, that's what we're not about to do. Yeah, that is the end of the video. That is something very different. I've never done that before. I was very, very heated because this is like a sensitive topic and whatnot, so I hope you enjoyed it. If y'all can leave comments disagreeing with me. I don't know if I'm gonna read it though, so there's that. But yeah, everybody who's defending this still after my, if you have a friend that's defending this, send them this video. Send them this video. If you're someone who started defending this before watching this and you're still defending it now, then you're beyond help at this point. I can't help you. But yeah, that was the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm still working on other videos that I can't get to work on because some y'all do something that annoys me almost every other week, and then I have to like restrain myself from filming it. But thank you so much for watching, and subscribe, hit the notification bell if you wanna subscribe, hit the notification bell if you wanna be aware of when I post more videos like this and other kinds of content, and I will be sure to see you in the next one. Bye. I really love this sweater. It's baby pink and it says angel on it. Can you see that? No, you can't see that. But yeah, thank you for watching. Peace out.